Talking or transmission? Transmission being the direct receiving of someone without words, the direct receiving of their energy, of their vibration, like almost like this path directly into ourselves. I'm Annalouise, and this is what I'm going to be talking about today. The difference between talking and transmission, and how to learn to fall into receiving people's transmissions more. It's something that in many cultures today we do less of, and yet there are other cultures where that's sort of their primary right way of receiving someone, of opening to someone, of knowing someone. One of my teachers is Swami Purohit, and he's from India, and he makes jokes sometimes that with his students in Spain and in Europe, there's a requirement to talk because people's minds need something to like attach onto. But really what he's giving is a powerful energetic transmission, and the words really aren't important. And where he comes from in India, teachers may just sit for 2 hours in silence with a group of people, and people can receive the energy directly into their system. And what I notice about when I sit and receive transmissions, powerful transmissions, is there's so much unfolding in my whole system that happens purely through the transmission, without any need to think, without any need to do anything. One of the blessings I've had in my life is to go with Swami several times to India, and he's taken the group around to different ashrams, and really all we do is go and sit in the ashram and receive the transmission of that particular energy in an ashram. And it's so palpable, the difference between different places. It's the feeling and the vibration is so different, and so each ashram that we got taken to, it's like we're receiving a different different integration into our systems, and it's very, very powerful. So there's one element which is receiving the transmission directly from a teacher, which is a real blessing. If you haven't had the opportunity to do it, I really recommend finding teachers where you can just sit with them in silence and receive the powerful transmission. And there's also the receiving transmission from everyone we meet on a daily basis. And this is what I'm going to focus more on today, with the sense that we so often, the word that's coming to me is actually pollute, which is quite a strong word, but we pollute our connection with people with words. Words can be used in a very powerful way, in a way that we're really connecting into truth, we're really connecting into our experience. But in general, most people, most of the time, use words in a lighter way, in a way that's more mind-based. And rather than taking us into presence, they take us out of presence. And even if we're talking about something that's pertinent, that's happening to us, in my experience, whatever that event is, how we relate to that event goes way beyond the event itself. So if we're having a tendency to talk about whatever's happening to us in the context of the words of the event, like, I had a bad experience and this and this and this, we're putting our attention into only a tiny part of the true reality of what's unfolding in our system. When we drop away the words and just sit with someone and allow ourselves to receive all of that information and so much more in a place of openness and receptivity, It's such a direct and beautiful way for our bodies and nervous systems to come into more presence and congruence. For us to let go of the threads that are tying us to the past. I was away this last weekend. I was away with a group of people. We were in this beautiful village and it was a precious time. People were sharing their gifts. And one of the things that seemed to be happening with the group, there was a lot of talking. There were times of silence, but there was also a lot of talking. And at one point I decided to invite connection coming more directly from transmission. So we did a little bit of a meditation and then we went into pairs and did some exercises. Within a few minutes, the energy of the group had completely shifted. And within a very short time, there were tears, there was laughter, there was joy, there was wonder. There was this real depth of connection. A sense of really seeing and receiving the other. Somebody asked me, before actually I ran that little session, they asked me about the way I tend to sort of be with people, and one person said, oh, it's like you're observing them. And I was like, oh, no, I don't feel like I'm observing them. I feel like I'm receiving them. An analogy that I like to use is to be a bit like a satellite dish. A satellite dish that's receiving a signal. And it might be receiving all sorts of different wavelengths. And the more open I am to receive all the signals that are present from another, the more opportunity there is for us to fall into greater presence. I'm wondering what experience you've had of being with people in this way, maybe quite a lot, maybe not much. Sometimes it can bring up some discomfort because we're not used to being with people in this way. And because many people aren't used to being in connection in this way, it can be difficult on a daily basis, if we're not accustomed to being like this, to invite it more into our daily lives. And that's why it's often really nice to go away on a little retreat or to be in a session where it's actually invited as a practice. That's what I'm going to do now with you. So you can just feel comfortable. You might want to sit down or standing up, wherever you are, take some time. And we're going to use a few words, but not many words. And this is a practice that I first learned from a teacher called Adam Chacksfield. And I have a feeling he learnt it from Jeannie Sandy. I'm not sure, but yeah. It's a practice that I consistently find to be really powerful. And what we're going to do is each one of us is going to say, taking it in turns, this is my heart. At the same time, really feeling into our hearts and looking at each other. So I'll go first and then you can receive me in my connection to my heart. And then you do the same. This is my heart. While I receive you. So I'll go first. I'll say, this is my heart. You can even have your hands like open to the side. That's how I'll have mine for receiving you. And after a pause, you can say, this is my heart. And we'll just go backwards and forwards a little bit. This is my heart. This is my heart. This is my heart. This is my heart. So this is just a few minutes. I invite you to check in, notice how you're feeling. Notice how present you're feeling, how connected into yourself and connected into me. This is something you could try with anyone that you have an impulse to try it with. Children, adults, in groups, with friends, and experiment a little bit and see how it feels and what comes up for people, what their experience is. So do share this video if you can think of anyone that you'd like to share this practice with. If you can think, oh, actually, it'd be really nice to try this with someone, and you can do it on a WhatsApp call, or you can do it in person or in Zoom. There are all sorts of practices like this which invite us to come into a sense of direct connection with people. And I run retreats to invite that with people, and they're beautiful and powerful and always surprising at what depth can be experienced in a really, really short time. So do go to my website, www.resonating.love, if you want to find more about that. Another beautiful thing to do can just be to sit with someone and without words, invite that. And sometimes if we're not used to it, it can be a bit uncomfortable. We might feel a little bit embarrassed, or we might feel a little bit uneasy. And the good thing is we can give ourselves permission, maybe to shut our eyes and just feel the person, like with our energy, just knowing they're there, opening our eyes when we want to. And we can also explore exercises around creating presence between people in different ways, like maybe by some gentle touch and just really receiving the touch without any agenda, with real openness. It's such a powerful healing opportunity. Yeah, when we come into greater presence, our bodies heal by themselves. And when we come into greater presence with other, it's even more powerful, because many of the ways in which we've set up our belief systems and potentially our wounding is in relation to other. So if we can create spaces where we can be really, really present in a safe environment with other, it allows those layers to unfold. I invite you to, as I say, try this with some people that you know, but also just see if you can hold a little bit more spaciousness and presence and non-talking in all of the interactions you have over the next few days. So if you go into a supermarket and you're perhaps talking to the person on the checkout, take a moment to really receive them, be the satellite dish, before perhaps asking how their day is or whatever you normally do. And if we're living with people, taking a moment to receive their energy, and between sentences taking more space to receive what's really there, and be open to being surprised at how much information is present underneath the words. And little by little you might become like me, where I find being with people in this way so much more captivating in general than being with people in words. There are exceptions, but generally being with people in this way with deep presence is just mesmerizing, and yeah, such a gift. If you've liked this video, do press like, and you can press the subscribe for notifications. And I wish you a week of exploration and curiosity and openness and receptivity. And I would love to hear how your experience is, both within this video and also generally as you connect with people in a more open and present way. Do post your comments below so that we can all share and learn together. So much love.